No one can conspiratorially establish a government. A statement from the President.
LTTE member Nagulan arrested in Jaffna. Is it the same Nagulan who was declared dead in 2007? Former MP Sajin Was claims joint opposition is distributing money among local politicians.
Bribery Commission grills former Minister Vimal Veerawangsa's wife over her husband's assets.
We're coming to you live and direct from the Newsfirst Centre here in Colombo with the latest news from here at home and around the world. A very good evening. I'm Mahinda Bongzo.
Good evening. I'm Shahin Jurampati. Let's now take a look at those stories in detail. President Maithripala Sirisena says no one can conspiratorially establish a government. The President says those who are travelling around the country holding meetings are doing so with the intention of suppressing investigations against corrupt and not to make the party victorious.
President Maithripala Sirisena met with the heads of media organizations at President's house in Colombo this morning. During the meeting, the President recalled incidents which occurred under the regime of President Mahinda Rajapaksa.
In
early 2014, the Economic Development Minister, established by the then government, travelled to all the districts with public funds. At every meeting and event he attended in every district, none of the public representatives in that district were allowed to take the lead. They were not even entrusted with bringing people to the meetings. None of the representatives received an invitation from him. The district secretaries in each district, Polonnaruwa, Anuradhapura, Galle, were told to gather people at each institution. It was the beginning of an attempt to run a completely bureaucracy-led government. Public representatives were left despondent. They were hurt. Some district leaders boycotted these meetings.
The President also said there is no crisis within the Sri Lanka Freedom Party.
It is not a crisis within the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. There is a confrontation between a cartel of those who were in the party, those who defeated the party, the corrupt, the thugs and the thieves, and a group who represent the party and want to take the vision and principles of the party forward with purity. Dreams of forming a government through conspiracy and splitting this government cannot be fulfilled. There is no way that the composition of parliament can be changed to conspiratorially form a government. If anyone wants to form a government without my willingness or blessings, then they must show 113 seats in parliament. Governments have been toppled in Sri Lanka through parliamentary conspiracy. There have been crossovers of 30, 40, 50 or even 60 members to form governments. But this miracle cannot be accomplished. So they are showing false situations and false political instability, distorting the mentality of officials, inciting fear among officials, claiming that this government cannot move forward and are even telling the people that they are returning. These are the corrupt and the thugs. Why did they hold the Hyde Park rally? Why did they spend money, gather a crowd and hold that rally? They put up the stage in the middle, put chairs for the rest, and everyone else was on the road. Was the Hyde Park rally held targeting an election? Was it to organize a party? No. The Hyde Park rally was held for one reason and for one reason only. It was done to intimidate the officials and the people conducting fraud and corruption investigations against those in the former regime, to show the officials that there are people behind them, that they will be coming into government and that this government will be toppled. They are giving them a message saying, do not act against us or you will have to face the consequences. This intimidation was the sole motivation behind the Hyde Park rally.
President Maithripala Sirisena also spoke about the media.
Licenses are issued to these organizations in line with the responsibilities under the Telecommunications Regulatory Commission Act. Transmissions made by a certain channel are weakening other channels. When this was investigated, it became evident, and accordingly I spoke to the head of that media organization and said clearly that there is a problem and that the rules and regulations must be followed, and if they are not being followed, then we will have to take action as per the rules and regulations of the Telecommunications Regulatory Commission. So it is media organizations themselves that are complaining that their rights are being infringed by others. That is why I said that this must be fair to all and that there is no legal or moral right for one channel to suppress another and move ahead. That is the real situation.
The President also guaranteed that he would not allow any measures that will lead to the division of the country.
With regard to the North's resolution, in general, provincial councils adopt numerous resolutions. Even in Parliament, since 1947, numerous resolutions have been adopted. So no matter what resolutions are passed by a provincial council, the government will not support any measure that interferes with the independence, sovereignty or territorial integrity of the country.
President Sirisena added that the government had taken steps to grant benefits to the people by minimizing wasteful expenditure.
In February or March, after I was elected president, we discovered that an order had been made for an aeroplane for the president at a cost of 2.5 billion. Funds had been released by the Bank of Ceylon. Sri Lankan Airlines today has only 21 aircraft. There are about 5,000 employees per aircraft. Consider the factors that led to this collapse. In all my overseas visits as president, I have travelled on regular commercial flights. I have never chartered a special flight, be it from Sri Lankan or any other country. I travel on flights which normal people use. But when you consider how aircraft were used in the past for overseas visits, we see that they obtain Sri Lankan aircraft with the most number of seats. They keep the aircraft there for 3, 4 or 5 days. Not only that, if there are 280 seats, then they fill up all 280 seats with their people from Tangol, Mathara and Hambantota. That is the true story. Imagine the extent of this expenditure. Given the situation, Sri Lankan Airlines collapsed. This is a major problem for the government. It is at a point beyond recovery. This must be resolved, and in order to do this, we will have to resort to a partnership with a foreign government or with a private entity. That is the true state of affairs.
Sajin Divas Gunawardena, the Sri Lanka Freedom Party organizer for the Balapiti electorate, released a special statement via social media platform Facebook today.
A group representing the so-called joint opposition visited the Balapiti electorate and held a meeting at the residence of a former Pradeshya Sabha member of the Sama Samaja party. 1 million rupees was distributed at the meeting, and anyone who attended it would confirm this. My personal opinion is the joint opposition is a fiction and is not even a party. If there is a struggle or a revolution, that attempt must produce a result. But this attempt has not produced any results at all. However, what has happened is that a group against the Sri Lanka Freedom Party was born from within the Sri Lanka Freedom Party itself. There are persons including Vimal Weerawansa who are doing this for political gain. It is with responsibility that I state that during the past he carried out a program making me the bait and portraying me as the biggest rogue in the country. I am aware of those programs. I am also aware that it was their doing that led for me to be denied a nomination. I wish to mention that I will reveal all of these matters to the media in the near future. Vimal Weerawansa must bear in mind that he will never be able to split the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. We all love former President Mahinda Rajapaksa. There is no debate on that. However, let me tell you about the politics that he taught me. He always said that the party does not survive because of the individual, but an individual survives because of the party. Keep that in mind.
Wife of MP Vimal Weerawansa, Shashi Weerawansa, arrived at the commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption today.
The Bribery Commission stated that Shashi Weerawansa was summoned to the commission to record a statement over the investigations carried out against her husband Vimal Weerawansa for not disclosing the means of obtaining his assets. She was questioned for around 6 hours.
This complaint was filed following the conclusion of the presidential elections and is filed pertaining to the assets of Vimal Weerawansa. This complaint is still being taken up. It took time to make clarifications for the questions that were asked and to again review them and place a signature. It was not told whether she will be summoned again.
Former Minister Basil Rajapaksa attended a meeting held in Bendara yesterday.
MP Geeta Kumarsinghe also attended the meeting, which was focused on preparations for the joint opposition's May Day Rally.
When speaking of some shortcomings, we are accountable too, but we must correct these. There are shortcomings on everyone's part, but we will not forget the people with us today. We know that you who are with the Rajapaksas are the ones who are truly protecting this party. So we say firmly that no matter what forces come against us or what threats are levelled, President Mahinda Rajapaksa will attend the rally in Kirulapana.
Speaking in Colonnav today, Minister of Petroleum Resources Development Chantima Veerakodi had this to say.
සල්ලි බෙදලා ඡන්දෙ දෙනන්න පුළුවන් කියලා හිතපු.
The brothers of Mahinda Rajapaksa, who thought that they could win votes through money and fled the country soon after defeat because they could not pay it, are now coming to our districts around the country and are distributing money. Therefore, this view that money can be used to play in politics to win the hearts of the people must be defeated for the betterment of the working people and the future of the country.
අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම රට වෙනුවෙන් වැඩ කරන ජනතාව වෙනුවෙන් රටේ අනාගතය වෙනුවෙන් පරාජය කළ යුතුයි.
Let's now take a look at the views expressed at a media briefing convened by the Sri Lanka Freedom Party in Colombo today.
Basil Rajapaksa is travelling across the country and is distributing money. He is providing money for buses, food and alcohol. He distributed money during the recent presidential election. The paste, the brushes and even the ladders were provided from Colombo. Basil Rajapaksa must be assuming that you can buy the people. Who was the first to leave Mahinda Rajapaksa following the defeat? Within 24 hours, Basil Rajapaksa fled, leaving his own brother alone. Basil Rajapaksa, who fled the country, has returned as the saviour of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. I asked Mahinda Ananda Alutgamage and Dulles, do you agree with this? Even last month, it was said that Basil was the reason for Mahinda Rajapaksa's loss. Today, from what Basil is doing and with the joint opposition, what is happening is an obstruction to the anti-UNP movement. It can be said that Basil Rajapaksa obstructed the journey to goal. We are not the tail of the United National Party. We received the consent to operate this consensual government for a period of 2 years. There was an agreement between the two leaders. That agreement included that those who defect from the party would not be involved in the government. This is a good practice taking place in Sri Lanka. That is how we have united based on the mandate given to us. Therefore, if someone is trying to ridicule us by saying that we are being the tail of the UNP, we would like to provide them with an answer. We are united in order to find a solution to this national issue. We are united to create national policies in order to pave a secure future for the people of this country.
The SLFP organizer for the Kotte electorate, Janaka Ranawaka, says he will be attending the May Day Rally at the Samanala grounds in Galle, along with 5,000 people from the electorate. Ranawaka made this statement on the special segment Walk the Talk on TV1.
Which May Day rally will you attend on the 1st of May?
I will attend the SLFP rally at the Samanala Stadium in Galle, and I will be taking 5,000 people from my electorate, which is Kotte, with me to Galle. The Samanala grounds will see the most number of participants on that day. Nobody can topple the SLFP, and following the 1st of May, the power that the SLFP possesses will increase. Our party is stable, and no one can prevent that.
Journalists raised questions on Sri Lankan Airlines at the media briefing on cabinet decisions held today.
We received approval to call for tenders. For now, we will take a local partner for a public-private partnership. The government will have a majority of shares and it will be under private management. The government must make all payments or no one will accept it with debt of 460 million. It will all be taken under the government. Payment will be made and then we will negotiate. Views were also expressed on electronic media frequencies. Some media organizations are not using the frequencies they have received and are holding on to those. Some media organizations have complained that others are blocking their frequencies. At the same time, there are several problems with rules and regulations of the Telecommunications and Regulatory Commission. So it was proposed that these need to be reviewed. He also proposed to acquire unused frequencies. These frequencies are public property, so it is unfair and wrong for anyone to hold on to these without using it. So a policy needs to be formulated regarding this.
The Terrorist Investigation Division has arrested an ex-LTTE cadre named Nagulan, alias Ganapati Pillai Sivamurthy. However, according to the official website of the Ministry of Defence, Colonel Nagulan, alias Ganapati Pillai Sivamurthy, the leader of the LTTE's Charles Anthony Band, was killed in a military attack in 2007.
Thereby is Nagulan, who was arrested today, the same Nagulan who was purportedly killed in 2007. This conundrum was posed to the cabinet spokesperson at today's media briefing.
Simply because these individuals are rehabilitated, there is nothing that we can do.
Following rehabilitation, any citizen of this country can be detained over suspicion for any allegation. Therefore, certain issues arose over the discovery of weapons and investigations were launched. They have not been found guilty, but they have been arrested and are being interrogated. The ministry website claims that this individual had died several years ago. We cannot confirm if it was this individual. There were several Nagulans in that organization. Therefore, it is impossible to make a statement without properly confirming the identity. There were several persons in the LTTE under the same name. The LTTE identification released on the 1st of January 2007 notes that the image is one of Sinnathambi Kanakappille Sivamurthy. According to the website of the Ministry of Defence, the individual known as Nagulan had died in 2007. However, there are certain similarities between the photograph of Nagulan arrested yesterday and the photograph in the identity card. Today, Newsfirst visited the house of the ExLTTE cadre Nagulan. According to his mother, Kanakappille Sivamurthy was rehabilitated and reintegrated into society in 2013.
He was born in 1975 and in 1989, when he was only 14 and studying in grade 9, he joined the LTTE. Later I got to know that he joined the LTTE's Charles Anthony Band. We never saw him after that. We had no connection with him. In 2006 we discovered the body of our only daughter in a well. The day before that they came and told us that they will not take her away. My son was taken away to Jaffna when he was farming. His father was also told to come. They had held my son in a room and told the father to go back. We do not know where he is or what is being done to him. He was rehabilitated from 2009 to 2013. If nothing was discovered back then, what do they plan on discovering from him now?
According to information we gathered, after being reintegrated to society, Nagulan had tied the knot and is a father of a 2-year-old child. His mother shared a memory with us.
In 2012, the intelligence service brought him to a lodge in Batiklo and held him in a room. When I was near the Batiklo hospital, I spoke to them and they took me and my husband there. They told us to speak with him that night. Later, they arrived and recorded a statement from us on what was spoken about. There is no one to take care of us. My husband is 70 years old while I am 65. Statements were recorded from us and they even took our signatures. They told us that he will be released and for us to get him married. Then we came home. He left us at the age of 14. He was lost for 24 years. Can you imagine that pain? Later we married him to one person. After training for 3 years, he entered the teaching profession just 5 days ago.
Police media spokesperson SP Gunasekara said that Nagulan, who was arrested yesterday, had served as the second officer to ExLTTE head Ram, who was arrested recently. He, however, said that he cannot disclose the reasons for Nagulan's arrest. On the 30th of last month, a suicide vest and explosives were discovered inside a house in Chavakacheri, Jaffna. Following the discovery, 3 ExLTTE cadres have been arrested by police.
The former LTTE Chief of Intelligence for Trincomalee, Kale Arasan alias Arivalahan, was arrested yesterday. Kale Arasan too was arrested in connection with the cache of explosives discovered in Chavakacheri. Another person purportedly connected to the incident was arrested in Mana today. The suspect arrested in Mana operates a printing press.
In more local news, speaking in Homagama today, State Minister of Defence Ruwan Wijewardena made clarifications regarding the incident where opposition leader R. Sambandhan had reportedly tried to enter an army camp.
As the opposition leader of this country, he can go to any place he wants to. He has that freedom. However, if anyone wants to go into an army camp, the relevant authorities must be informed a day or two prior to their visit. Even I do this before visiting an army camp. So I do not think that this should be considered a huge issue. We explained to the opposition leader as well that this is the protocol, that he should keep the relevant authorities informed a day or two in advance if he is to visit an army camp. But this so-called joint opposition is creating unnecessary speculation amongst the society that the opposition leader had forcefully entered the army camp. That is not so. He in fact had gone to the area to intervene and resolve an issue which the people there were facing, after which he had arrived at an army camp to hold discussions with the officers there. I do not think he has caused any problem for the army or the police.
Minister of Housing and Construction Sajid Premadasa presented housing loans to 500 low-income families in the Gampaha district.
Housing loans to the value of 13 million rupees were presented to the low-income families today at a program that took place at the Sri Sunandarama Daraduta Mahapirivena in Medagama, Gampaha. Moreover, Minister Sajid Premadasa presented building material for the construction of houses for 400 families and land deeds to another 40 families.
As the people of the country did not get the supply for their demand, there is a huge public demand for houses today. The Ministry of Housing is dedicating every cent to resolve the housing issue with no unnecessary expenses nor media charades. One of the biggest unnecessary orders made by the previous government was exposed recently. Sri Lankan Airlines is bearing losses amounting to $3.5 billion. At a time when such losses are being made, who brought in Sri Lankan Airlines? When they go on foreign tours, the whole family tree goes with them, including all the colleagues and associates. If the aircraft is booked for a total of 250 to 350 passengers, the entire royal family is aboard it. As citizens of this country, you should look into these as well.
The UN Special Rapporteur on the Independence of Judges and Lawyers, Monica Pinto, and the UN Special Rapporteur on Torture and Other Cruel, Inhuman or Degrading Treatment or Punishment, Juan E. Mendez, will undertake a joint visit to Sri Lanka from the 29th of April to the 7th of May this year at the invitation of the government.
According to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, while the previous UN Special Rapporteur on Torture visited Sri Lanka in 2010, this will be the first visit to Sri Lanka by a Special Rapporteur on the Independence of Judges and Lawyers. During their visit, the two special rapporteurs will meet with relevant ministers, government officials, members of the judiciary, the Attorney General, lawyers, civil society members, the National Human Rights Commission and victims and their families. In addition to visiting Colombo, they will visit the northern, north central, eastern, central and southern provinces and also places of detention.
The Pathfinder Foundation and China Institutes of Contemporary International Relations signed an MOU today. The pact is aimed to enhance mutual understanding and cooperation through collaborative institutional relations.
A 5-member delegation from China Institutes of Contemporary International Relations held discussions with Milinda Morogoda, founder of Pathfinder Foundation, and senior officials of the Pathfinder Foundation, following which the MOU was penned.
Both sides had a fruitful discussion and we have a consensus that we need to develop our consensus. China and Sri Lanka had a bright future in terms of political, economical and cultural exchanges. A bilateral cooperation between Sri Lanka and China is good for future stability and prosperity.
With CIR, we will be in a better position to promote understanding as well as promote cooperation between our two countries. And the memorandum of understanding what we have signed today will provide the necessary foundation for that type of cooperation as well as understanding between our two countries.
The 22nd anniversary of South Africa's Freedom Day was commemorated in Colombo yesterday.
The event was held under the auspices of the High Commissioner of the Republic of South Africa to Sri Lanka, High Commissioner Jeff Deutsch, and also saw the participation of Minister of Parliamentary Reform and Mass Media, Gayantha Karunatilaka.
South Africa and Sri Lanka bilateral relations are at an all-time high, and we look forward to seeing the success of our intergovernmental relations on the political and diplomatic front being replicated into the economic sphere. In our own experience, this will be an arduous journey towards healing the wounds of a painful past and transforming the state and society into a truly democratic one. And like many other countries represented here tonight, we remain committed to assist Sri Lanka.
Most of you are well aware that Sri Lanka is now in the process of establishing an effective post-conflict reconciliation process. We draw inspirations from the reconciliation process in South Africa. And from President Mandela's words, the truth is that we are not yet free. We have merely achieved the freedom to be free. With the absence of terrorism in Sri Lanka, we have achieved the freedom to be free, but we have a long journey before us to achieve ultimate freedom. We appreciate South Africa for helping us in this journey that we have embarked upon by sharing South Africa's experience.
Heavy downpours and gale winds caused damages in several parts of the island last evening.
A woman died after falling into a well following a lightning strike in Pallevala, Mirigama. It is reported that she was struck by lightning when she attempted to close the gate leading to the house. The woman had later fallen in a well and died. The deceased was a 55-year-old mother of two. Elsewhere, 40 houses were damaged by strong winds in Pugoda, Pallevala. Strong winds that swept across Ganemulla during a downpour last evening damaged several houses. The gale winds had affected the areas of Galahitiava, Ganemulla, Kosinna and Madagoda. Gale winds also uprooted several trees which fell onto electricity cables, disrupting the power supply of Gampaha and surrounding areas. A motorcycle crashed onto a car when travelling close to an uprooted tree in the Galahitiava area. The injured motorcyclist was rushed to the Ragama Teaching Hospital for treatment. Gale winds that swept through Panduasnuara damaged several houses. Our correspondent added that houses located in Angamua, Dematava and Hengedar areas were damaged. In addition, uprooted trees damaged the electricity cables, disrupting the supply of power to the area. Gale force winds caused damages to 5 houses in Lower Hanvella. Locals request the authorities to provide them with immediate relief. The Department of Meteorology says that showers or thundershowers will occur at several places in the western, northwestern, central, Sabaragamuwa and southern provinces. It adds that there may be temporary localized strong winds during thundershowers, and the general public is requested to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by lightning activity.
And finally on sports news, former Test cricket captain Sana Jayasuriya has been reappointed as the chairman of the Sri Lanka Cricket Selection Committee. Sri Lanka Cricket says that the 4-member selection committee was appointed by the Minister of Sports.
While former cricket captain Sana Jayasuriya has been appointed chairman, the selection committee also comprises of former cricketers Romesh Kaluvitharana, Ranjit Madhurisinghe and Eric Upashanta. According to Sri Lanka Cricket, the new committee will take office on the 1st of May.
I believe the minister, the heads of the organisation and others have entrusted me with this, with great hopes. I can say that on behalf of Sri Lanka Cricket, I will give my 100% towards successfully fulfilling the responsibility. Sri Lanka Cricket is facing a minor decline at present, but I believe that together with Aravinda, we can embark on a positive journey.
Well, that concludes today's edition of Primetime News. Thank you for watching News First. I'm Mahina Bongzo.
And I am Shahan Jarampati. Good night and take care.